Hi everyone, it's Andrea Tooley from AndreaTooley.com. Thanks so much for watching this video. I'm here with you today to kind of share some personal details about my path from high school to college to medical school. I've been getting lots of people asking specifically what I did in terms of extracurriculars, academic kind of stuff, and it's very specific to me, so this isn't necessarily advice per se, but lots of people want to know exactly what I did, and so I figured I would just kind of share it and put it out there, and I always wanted to know what everybody else was doing too. I always want to know how everybody's studying and what research everybody's doing, and I think it's good to know just to kind of keep yourself in check and make sure that you're kind of keeping up with your peers. And anyways, I'm many years out of high school, college, and now 2 years out of medical school even. And so some of the stuff that I did might not even be enough. I feel like every year people do more and more. And so, yeah, I don't know if this will be helpful. I hope that it will, but I keep getting lots of people asking. So I figured I would just go ahead and share. As always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss a video in the future. I'm still planning tons of great interview videos to answer all of your questions, but this I figured wouldn't be a really good interview because I'm just going to talk about me. So hope you like it. Here we go. All right, so starting in high school, I know a lot of you watching and a lot of you reading my blog or following me on Instagram are in high school, and so I knew that I wanted to go to medical school when I was in high school. I was probably, I don't think my freshman year I really had a grip on it, but I think by sophomore year I was pretty sure that's what I wanted to do, and then junior year definitely. And so getting really good grades in high school was always goal number one. I didn't know where I wanted to go to college, but I knew I wanted to get as many scholarships as possible and just do as well as possible. And so I always tried to get the best grades that I could. I did not take a lot of AP classes, and that's mainly because my sophomore year in high school, my family moved from Florida, where I grew up and spent years 0 through 16. We moved to Indiana, and that was in the middle of my sophomore year. And the school that I went to in Indiana was tiny. I graduated with 13 people in my class, and so they didn't offer a lot of AP classes. There wasn't a lot of options in the courses that I could take. I did end up taking a couple college level classes, and I took a couple AP classes or an AP exam, but we just didn't have the backup at that school because it was so small. There were like 2 of us in my calculus class, myself and another girl. And so the teachers weren't used to teaching those higher level courses, and so I didn't test out of any APs. I didn't do that well. I think I got a 4 on like my biology, but I didn't get any 5s. I just didn't have the preparation in high school that some people get from going to these awesome, huge high schools. And so I just tried to get the best grades that I could at my school, and then I did a lot of community service. I was involved in a historic preservation group, and we raised money to restore this big gymnasium that was built in the early 1900s and is in the movie A League of Their Own, that movie with Tom Hanks and Madonna. If you've ever seen that movie, it's the gym in that movie. And so we raised money to kind of preserve the building and save the building, really. It was in disrepair. And so I got to work with lawyers and architects, and we got this huge grant from the state, and we got to go to Indianapolis and get this big grant, and I was the president of that my senior year. And every year I kind of moved up, and so I was like the head of this group, and I learned a ton of responsibility, and there were adults in the group as well as students, and so it was a big role, and that was a huge thing that I did in high school in terms of community service and volunteering. I also did a bit of shadowing when I was in high school. I shadowed a general surgeon quite a few times, and just kind of spent time in the hospital shadowing and things like that when I was in high school, since I knew I was interested. And then 2 other big things that I did in high school that I think were very helpful to my future. One is I flew airplanes. I got my pilot's license when I was 17, and I loved flying. I don't fly anymore just because it's impractical with medical school and residency, but I definitely want to get back into it when I'm kind of done with training and have more disposable income. But that was something that I did in high school, and I really was challenged by flying. It's not easy, and learning everything about airplanes and weather and the mechanics and the physics of flying was just wonderful. And I met a lot of really cool people through flying. One person I met in particular was a pilot for an organization called Orbis, which is a nonprofit kind of global organization that has this mission statement of preventing blindness worldwide. And when I heard about Orbis, I was 16, I was flying, and I met this guy at the airport. We were both waiting to go out and fly. It was raining, and so we were just kind of chilling in the little private airport, and he told me about Orbis. I didn't know anything about ophthalmology. I didn't know what ophthalmology even was, but I was pretty sure I wanted to be a doctor. And when he told me about Orbis and how they go into all of these developing countries and help people who are blind and perform surgery and teach local physicians how to do different kinds of eye procedures, I was really intrigued, and it sounded like just what I was looking for in what I wanted to do in medicine. And so I went home and looked it up, and I immediately kind of fell in love with their mission and the ability to affect someone's life in such a positive way by doing something simple like cataract surgery. And so I started to get involved with Orbis as a high schooler, and actually was able to go on a trip to Peru with Orbis when I was in high school. And that was kind of the moment that solidified my desire to be an ophthalmologist. And I feel like that was a huge life-changing event. But thinking back on it, looking at my college application as a high schooler, you know, I had gone to Peru with this big nonprofit organization. I had my pilot's license. I was involved in this big community-wide historic preservation initiative that was very successful, and I had good grades. And so I think that those kinds of things made me unique and different than a normal high school student. But that was pretty much all that I did. I played sports. I played softball and volleyball and cheerleading and those kinds of things, but those were the big things that I spent my time on, and I think that's what made me unique in terms of my college application. So that was high school. So then in college, I went to Butler University in Indianapolis, and most of you know I double majored in English Lit and chemistry. I originally came in as a biology major, but the thought of having to take botany and zoology made me want to drop out of school, and so I figured I should probably change my major. And so I changed it to chemistry because I was going to have to take organic, biochem, and general chemistry anyways, and so then you're like halfway to a major by just taking those required classes for medical school. So I changed it to chemistry, and then I decided to double major in English Lit. So I think for one, just being an English major helped me with my application to medical school because it made me a little unique. It gave me something to talk about when I was applying, and it just made my application stand out as something a little different. So that was one. I was super involved in college. I was in a bajillion organizations. College is the best time because you can really be involved in everything and just kind of spread your wings and do whatever you want. But I think the big things that made me unique and helped me stand out was that I did research in college. I worked in a biology lab. I did my kind of honors thesis on a big project that I developed, and I learned a bunch of cool lab techniques. And so doing research in college, I think, really helped. And if you're interested in medicine, I would definitely encourage you to look into research in college. And it does not have to be medically related. Mine was about frogs, and so it doesn't necessarily have to have a medical application. But if there's a medical school nearby, they accept college students to help in some of the medical labs, and so I would look into that for sure and try to get involved. But you can also, if there's research on your campus in either the biology department or the chemistry department or the physics department or whatever, then just ask some of your professors. That's all I did. I sat down with one of my favorite professors and I said, do you think there's any research that I could potentially do? And she said, yeah, go talk to this guy. And then I ended up in his lab for all my years of college. And so I think doing research just shows that you're capable, you're of that kind of mind, and medical schools really like to see that. So I think doing research really helped me. And then another is having kind of leadership roles and just showing that you are a leader, showing that you are capable of managing lots of people and kind of being in that role, because as a physician, you are going to be a leader of a team. And so having leadership roles in college, I think, is great. I was the kind of vice president of finance for the student body. You know, there's like the student body president, and then there's like 6 different vice presidents. So I was one of those. And I helped with the budget for our student body, and I helped give out grants to student organizations. And that wasn't related to medicine at all, but that was a big leadership position, and I really enjoyed doing that. I was the president of Mortar Board, which was kind of an honor society, and I helped kind of get that really involved on campus, and we did a bunch of different things on campus for that. And then I was also really involved in my sorority, and I made a video about Greek life and kind of my experience being in a sorority. And I just absolutely loved all the leadership roles that I had within my sorority, one of which was to be the kind of in charge of the philanthropy aspect of my sorority, which ironically just fortuitously happened to be volunteering at the School for the Blind and raising money to help prevent blindness worldwide, which was, I knew I wanted to do ophthalmology, and so it was kind of perfect, and it just all worked together. And then the other thing I did was I helped my sorority get involved with Orbis, the organization that I spent time with in high school. And so I raised money with my sorority to then donate to Orbis, because it all kind of fit within the mission statement of the sorority. So that was great. And then I was also able to work with Orbis as well. I helped publish a manuscript for people to use, kind of a how-to booklet of how to work some of their online systems. And I worked alongside them and kind of volunteered my time to work with Orbis. So there's a lot of continuity in my application, you know, starting being involved with Orbis in high school and continuing to kind of be involved with them in college, and then also volunteering at the School for the Blind and everything like that. I think it just shows that I've been kind of dedicated and on this path since day one. So that's what I did in college. And also getting good grades. You know, you always want to get the best grades that you can, and just kind of stand out. I don't think it matters what you do. You just want to be unique, and you just want to do something that you are passionate about, because if you like it and you're passionate about it, you're going to excel and do great things with it, versus doing something you don't really care about, but you think it's like what you need to do to get into medical school. That's not the way to go about it. So those are the big things I did. I also studied abroad for a semester, which was great to talk about. I did all English literature while I was in England studying, and so that kind of fit with my English major. And I did some other kind of traveling and volunteering. I spent a summer in Tanzania volunteering, and those kinds of things I think helped make my application stand out. But then really your grades and your MCAT are big. I took the MCAT my sophomore year, right after my sophomore year, the summer before junior year started. And then I was able to work for Kaplan as an MCAT teacher my senior year. But that was after I was already accepted to medical school. And so I don't think that played into my acceptance there. But that's kind of what I did in medical school. And then in college, and then I got into medical school. And, what did I do in medical school? Okay, so I think I've said this in lots of other videos. I did a lot of research in medical school, all in ophthalmology. When I applied for residency, I had 2 papers that were submitted for publication, but they hadn't actually been published yet. So I didn't have any other publications. I just had those 2, which ended up being published, but they weren't published when I applied. You know, good grades and good step scores are always really important. And then the big thing that I did in medical school was a lot of volunteering and leadership within my kind of student organization, our student ophthalmology interest group. And I helped to start a free clinic for people in Indianapolis to come get an eye exam and to get free pair of glasses. So we used to do all these vision screenings in the community and just screen for glaucoma and screen for vision. But we ended up getting a grant and getting quite a bit of money, and we were able to purchase a bunch of new equipment. And Indiana University has a student-run outreach clinic for just general medicine where people can get general medical care, and they can get blood pressure medication and diabetes medication. And this clinic is amazing. They have residents and faculty and medical students who run it. Patients come, it's held in a church, and they have all these little exam rooms with exam tables, and it's really run so well. They have this pharmacy school at Butler is involved, physical therapy is involved, the law school is involved to help people with insurance or getting the financial support that they need or the community support that they need. There's like nutritionists who are involved. It's such a full range clinic, and people can get all kinds of medical care, but there was no eye care aspect of it. So my big project in medical school was to add an eye clinic to that outreach clinic. And so once a month we hold this eye clinic, and people can come get an eye exam, they can get a glasses prescription, and then we made a deal with a local glasses store where people can come and they just present their little token from us and they get a free pair of glasses, which I think really makes a huge impact on the community. And so I spent a ton of time volunteering at that clinic and kind of getting that all up and running, and that was the big thing that I did in medical school. And then like my blog and other funny things that just kind of make you interesting. Again, same thing with high school and college. I don't think it's what you do. I think it doesn't matter what you do. What matters is that it's your thing and that you have done something that you can talk about that makes you seem like an interesting person, an ambitious, a dedicated person, kind of the qualities that you would want in a future physician. And just being able to talk about your accomplishments and what makes you unique is what's going to make your application shine. And so just do whatever you like, and don't be afraid to reach for the stars and work really hard, because you might as well. I always told myself, I might as well work my butt off, because what else am I going to do? And so, get involved with things that you like. I hope this video helps or gives you some ideas about things that you can do to get involved or make your application stand out if you're applying for college, for medical school, or even for residency. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Check out my blog, AndreaTooley.com. You can follow me on Instagram at A Doctor in the House. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!